Hi there. So my name is Koch. I am a consultant in emergency medicine working in Chelsea, as well as a lifestyle medicine doctor at Marylebone Health Group and Little Longevity. So today we're going to talk to you about the super 5 areas that you can focus today on improving your overall health and wellness. And we're going to focus on movement or exercise or physical activity, nutrition and detoxification, sleep, social connection, which are also going to link to mental health and emotional health, as well as stress management. The first topic is movement, physical activity or exercise, often used interchangeably, but I like to use the term movement as really any form of movement is really that can be classified as getting your body going, increasing that heart rate and overall health, helping your overall health and wellness. There's really high qualities to suggest that actually those people who are physically active, who meet the minimum requirement guidelines created by the World Health Organization, show that their overall mortality, so their overall risk of death, is reduced by up to 20 to 30%. And that includes all different aspects of one's health. It reduces your risk of type 2 diabetes, of cardiovascular disease such as heart disease, of strokes, of depression. It increases your positive emotions and mood and reduces things like anxiety as well as depression overall. And there's a few key elements of physical activity. So in terms of meeting the guidelines, the World Health Organization relatively recently published the update, which is there's kind of 3 key aspects to this. The first one is meeting your aerobic physical activity levels. So you need to be able to reach about 150 to 300 minutes of moderate intensity exercise every week, which equates to roughly at least about 22 minutes of day where you're a little bit out of breath. A really good way to check for this is using the talk test, and it's been shown to correlate really well when measured in a lab in terms of how much effort you're putting into exercise. So if you are doing a low activity, you should be able to talk and sing whilst being able to do that activity. If you're doing a moderate intensity activity, so what the guidelines want you to at least achieve per week, you should be able to do that activity and not quite be able to sing because you're a bit out of breath, but you should at least be able to talk while you're doing it without breaking your sentences. And then if you move to the next stage, which is a vigorous or a high intensity exercise, you definitely shouldn't be able to sing, and you also shouldn't be able to talk without gaps in your sentences because you're quite out of breath doing that activity. You don't, as far as the guidelines go, need to just be able to hit 150 to 300 minutes of moderate exercise intensity, so where you can't sing. Another way of also meeting the guideline is you can mix that with high intensity exercise as long as you're signed off to be able to do that and don't have any metabolic, cardiovascular or kidney disease. Or symptoms of that as well. And you need to be able to at least be hitting 75 to 150 minutes of vigorous intensity exercise. So a combination of either the moderate intensity or the vigorous intensity, as long as you're hitting those numbers, that gives you a huge, that 20 to 30% reduced risk of all-cause mortality, which is really important. Another key aspect of that area is those people who are the least physically active, so basically do nothing, have the highest rate of improvement of their overall fitness and see the highest improvement in their risk of mortality from that. So if you are already physically active, just hitting those guidelines will give you benefit, but the best group to benefit from that are those who are least active, who are just starting out to do that. Now that doesn't mean you have to go straight and hit those guidelines from the start. All you need to do is just start doing something. Anything is a good start, and then gradually progressing to do more and more and more. And there's 2 other key aspects of that. The other one is about muscle. So guidelines suggest you need to be doing at least 2 sessions a week of including all major muscle groups of your body of activity, of strength work. So that's lifting something that is a little bit heavy, a little bit uncomfortable to lift, but you should easily be able to do it without hurting yourself as well. And training that muscle mass has been shown as well to give us a much reduced risk of overall cause mortality as well. And it also reduces secondary things such as falls as well. So really, really important to do that. What we do know is that muscle mass decreases by around 3 to 6 per decade after the age of 30, and that can even double after the age of 60, which is why that's become one of the key focuses on the physical activity guidelines, is to really engage people, not just meeting their aerobic activity, but as well increasing their strength work, which is vital to overall health. And then the last component about physical activity is reducing sedentary time. So you can still be physically active just because you're doing that 22 minutes at least a day of physical activity. But if you're spending the rest of the day at a desk, not wandering around or doing anything, you can also be sedentary. So what we need to try and do is hit those physical activity guidelines, but reduce our sedentary time. And that can include things such as getting a standing desk, taking regular breaks to go for a walk in between doing work or sat at the desk as well. And other people even do squats and things while, for example, they're waiting for the kettle to boil. So those are really simple hacks that you can do just to start progressing your physical activity levels. The next topic I want to talk to you about is nutrition and detoxification. So there's two aspects of that. Nutrition, it's all really about what you put in your body. We know that up to especially in the UK, up to 50% of our diets are contained about ultra-processed foods. And we really need to try and shift that balance into eating whole food based diets. Think of the Mediterranean diet. It's a really good example to use for this, where you're not drinking fruit juices, you're eating apples and whole fruits, whole plant or meat-based products as well. And one of the current recommendations is about, I think the 5 to 6 for example, fruit and vegetables a day is kind of gone out the window a little bit. We need to aim for diversity and variety. And where we're really looking at the moment is having 30 different plant-based foods per week. You need to try and put that as broad as you can. That could include fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, as an example for those as well. So other key aspects of this is also about prioritizing protein. So the 0.8 grams per kilogram recommendation that you'll often see on guidelines is really just about getting enough protein to survive. And in order to thrive, especially if you're reaching your physical activity levels, you need to be aiming almost at least from 1.2 to 1.5 grams per kilogram of protein a day to be able to allow your body to have enough protein so that you can start building muscle mass and not just survive but thrive further as well. Next key topic is about sleep. All the studies kind of really point towards having 7 to 8 hours of good quality sleep per day. And one of the key aspects you can use for this is about sleep hygiene. So that encompasses really basic fundamentals of winding down at night, reducing your screen time at night, not being in bright lights if you can avoid that at all, maybe using something like red light or dimming the lights down as well. Sleeping in a cooler room is one of the beneficial things. So they say about 18 degrees to do that, and the room should really be dark and free of distractions to do that. Some people also find having a hot bath at night or a hot shower at night makes your body try and cool itself down, initiating your sleep cycle as well as early sun exposure in the morning. Next topic is really about social connection, which ties in a bit to overall mental and emotional well-being as well, which is absolutely crucial. And the studies have shown there up to huge numbers, up to 50%, it increases your overall all-cause mortality if you are socially isolated or have a significant mental or emotional health burden going on at the same time. So having a sense of purpose about what you do every day is really, really important, and being part of a community with similar values to you is really important to improve your overall health. And one of the last topics I want to talk about is stress management. There are really simple steps that you can use because we know chronic stress can have a massive impact on your overall health and well-being. And from an evolution perspective, we're just not designed to have ongoing small bouts of chronic stress. We're used to acute stress, running away from that tiger, that flight-fight response, but then having a bit of time off in between that. But with our manic, hectic lives these days, we really just struggle with these chronic, regular, frequent stress bouts as well. So what are the simple ways that you can do that? Well, mindfulness has become really important through doing that. There's plenty of apps that you can do that through, videos you can do that through, such as the Calm app or Headspace, for example. Breath work can be really simple, doing something straightforward such as box breathing, where you breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, out for 4 seconds, and hold for 4 seconds. Has been another way just that the Marines often use to try and control their breathing as well, which can reduce your stress levels, as your heart rate can be directly linked to your breathing rate as well. And the last topic on that is something like gratitude, which is just about waking up every morning and thinking of a few topics. So one thing you're really grateful for, one thing that you'd really like to achieve today that is actually achievable, and another area where you think that you can make an impact not only in your own life but in someone else's life. So what are the other positive influences that you can do in your day to make your day better? So those are kind of the key concepts about movement, nutrition, sleep, social connection, which includes mental health and well-being, and stress management, so you can improve your overall health and well-being from today.